Tennessee Titans at the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots are now up to 6.5 point favorites at several books. It is anywhere from 43.5 up to 44.5 your total. In this one, of course, the Titans did just come off of a loss to the Texans. That being said, a horrible, horrible game by Ryan Tannehill in which he turned the ball over multiple times. And you're not going to come back from a 5 turnover deficit and win too many ball games. And then the Patriots, of course, are just kind of doing what the Patriots are doing. And they find themselves in the driver's seat in the AFC East, shockingly enough, as we sit right now. Brad, I'll start with you here on this one. The Patriots, despite the fact they're winning games, it's not really incredibly impressive from an offensive standpoint. The defense is definitely impressive. And more than anything, I think the offensive side of the ball, I think the real hero here is Josh McDaniels and learning and really truly calling plays and calling games that don't ask Mac Jones to do too incredibly much. Keep him within himself, allow him to just go make the plays that they need him to make. And then they rely on kind of a run game and play good defense and they win games that way. That being said, with that being the case, now that this number has bloated out to 6.5, have we gone too far with the Patriots' love?
I don't think you can back the Patriots at 6.5. Obviously this was 3 on the look ahead. So yeah, I don't think you can back the Patriots. I think what I would say, I took a little bit of under 44 earlier today. So if we look at when the Titans have got the ball, we know New England is well coached. They've got a good defense. They've got talent. The Titans, since they've lost Derrick Henry, they've been a mess, right? They've been like a bottom quarter of the NFL in terms of their success rates, EPA. Tannehill's turning it over now. Now they're down Marcus Johnson, the second receiver. AJ Brown's questionable. Obviously, no Julio. Like I don't know how they move the ball at all. And then I'm you know that I'm a huge fan of this Tennessee defense. Like these are 2 of the most physical defenses in the NFL. So I think it's going to be a real slobber knocker. But yeah, Mac Jones has improved. But it's still kind of an average to slightly above average offense. And I still think the Tennessee defense is a top 5 unit in the NFL. So, I probably think both teams go under their team total. So, I just went for the under 44 here.
Stephen, we have a Titans team that is probably going to be better in a couple of weeks, but they are still facing a pretty big uphill battle. Julio Jones can come back next week off of IR, so he might be able to come back. They were missing 3 starting linebackers last week as well. Maybe they get one of those guys back this week, so it shouldn't be as bad for them kind of moving forward. But as we enter this one, it still looks like they're pretty beat up, but I have a hard time, and maybe this is just my too much priors like getting involved here with me. I have a hard time laying 6.5 with this Patriots squad, even against a beat up Titans team.
Absent a starting quarterback going down, you're not going to hear me advocating to back the worst of a number by 3.5 points. I mean, the Patriots were only -3 on the look ahead here. And I think that number was wrong to begin with. We were talking in our Slack channels and our new Discord, which you can find at thelines.com, top right corner. You can go join our Discord. We were talking NFL there last week. That Patriots -3 on the look ahead was a gift. And I actually think Patriots +4 on the look ahead next week against Buffalo is a gift too. I might go bet that this week. But as for this matchup against the Titans, the Patriots, I think, still set up quite nicely for a teaser leg. I mean, it's ballooned out to 6.5, but you still got a low total of 44. You still have all those offensive issues that Brad talked about. You could still tease this down and get them as just a straight pick 'em in this game. And I am extremely confident that New England handles business in this one. Just taking what Brad said about the Titans offense and looking at it holistically, it's the number 22 DVOA offense against the number 1 DVOA defense. And then when New England has the ball, I actually would disagree with you, Matt, that this offense looks boring, right, on paper. I mean, it's Mac Jones and they don't look too fancy, and it's not like it's the Buffalo Bills or the greatest show on turf. But during this 5-game winning streak, this New England offense is number 1 in the league in EPA and number 1 in the league in success rate. They're doing whatever they want. It's just not the 21st century offense that we're used to seeing. So this Titans defense has been above average, but they lost Bud Dupree. They're down cornerbacks Chris Jackson, Caleb Farley on IR. So these are two teams that I think are going in opposite directions, and to get them as just a pick 'em, I think is still solid here for New England this week in a teaser leg.
Yeah, and you can do that, or you can play them in a money line parlay as well, right? So if you're looking at one of these other games that you feel fairly confident in, because there's not, unless you're looking to tease up, there's not a lot of ones to go down from, right? So if you like any of these games we talk about, later on in the pod, later on in some of the other videos that we're going to put out, maybe you could just play them in a money line parlay there as well. I did play them in a money line parlay with the Bills from Thursday, so maybe by the time you're listening to this, I've already lost it, but hopefully I have not. That was actually getting a little bit better of a number than teasing that. So taking the Bills money line to go along with the money line there on the Patriots.